The morning was unusually quiet. Mara had spent the night watching Kalen, ensuring its breathing and pulse were steady. The dragon had grown stronger every day, its scales glimmering in the faint sunlight that spilled into their hidden cave. Mara felt a growing sense of pride in her care, but also unease. Kalen had warned her of approaching danger, and Mara knew that the time of peace was ending. It began as a subtle vibration beneath her feet. Mara paused, her heart skipping a beat. Kalen stiffened beside her, wings twitching. The vibration grew, rhythmic and powerful, echoing through the canyon walls. Mara climbed to a high rock and looked up at the sky. 4 massive starships descended, their polished hulls reflecting the sun like beacons of power. Each ship bore royal insignia, glowing symbols Mara had never seen before. Her mouth went dry. The dragon's telepathy thrummed urgently in her mind. They are not friends. Prepare. Mara's mind raced. Who were these beings? Were they enemies? Hunters sent to reclaim Kalen? Her first instinct was to run, but she knew she could not abandon the dragon, not now, not ever. Kalen's massive wings flexed, ready to lift into flight, but Mara held onto its scales. They are here for you, she whispered, though Kalen already knew. The dragon emitted a low hum of warning. Mara could sense its fear and caution, but also the recognition of its own kind. The beings in the sky were royal protectors, not ordinary enemies. Still, Mara had no way of knowing their intentions. The starships landed just outside the canyon, sending plumes of dust into the air. Mara shielded her eyes and watched as alien soldiers in gleaming armor emerged. Weapons held, scanning the rocks and canyon floor. They moved with precision, clearly trained for situations far more dangerous than Mara's humble canyon. A figure detached from the group, a tall alien with iridescent armor and a flowing cloak. Its eyes glowed softly, intelligent and discerning. Mara felt a strange sense of authority emanate from the being. It spoke, and its words echoed directly into her mind, not aloud. Human. Step forward. Mara froze for a moment. She had never expected to communicate directly with an alien of royal status. Slowly, she stepped out from behind the rocks, keeping Kalen between herself and the strangers. The dragon's massive head shifted slightly, protective, but Mara could feel its trust in her resolve. I'm Mara, she said cautiously. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I was just helping. The alien's eyes softened slightly. You helped Kalen. That is unusual. Most would have run, or worse. Why? Mara swallowed hard. I couldn't leave it to die. It was hurt, and I didn't think about the danger. I only thought about helping. The alien studied her for a long moment, then nodded. You are brave. Strange but brave. Kalen is royal kin. You have saved one of the most important members of our lineage. Mara's heart raced. Royal kin? She whispered, glancing at Kalen, who let out a low hum of acknowledgement. The dragon's eyes seemed to shine with pride and relief. Yes. The alien continued. There are forces that would harm Kalen. You have acted wisely, human. But now the situation is delicate. Suddenly, the other soldiers moved, forming a protective circle around Mara and Kalen. Mara felt the weight of the moment. She realized that this was not just a rescue mission. The aliens were here for political and strategic reasons, and her involvement had made her a crucial part of the unfolding events. Mara's mind raced with questions. What do you want from me? She asked cautiously. The lead alien paused. You have demonstrated courage, intelligence, and compassion, traits rare among humans. We do not seek to harm you. We seek an ally, Mara blinked. An ally? To whom? To Kalen and to the survival of its species. The alien's voice was calm but firm. There is a threat. Others seek to capture Kalen for power and influence. Your actions have already changed the course of this conflict. Mara felt a surge of adrenaline. The magnitude of the situation was overwhelming. She had simply tried to help a wounded dragon, but now she was standing in front of royal starships and alien soldiers, part of a galaxy-wide event she could hardly comprehend. Kalen shifted slightly, nudging her hand gently. Mara smiled, feeling a deep connection with the dragon. Together they had survived this long, and together they could face whatever came next. The alien continued. We must take Kalen aboard our flagship. It is safest, and you will come with us. Your knowledge of medicine and care is invaluable. Mara hesitated. Leaving the canyon felt dangerous. But Kalen's subtle nod reassured her. It trusted these beings just as it trusted her. All right, she said finally. I'll come. But only if Kalen is safe. The alien inclined its head. It will be. Step forward, human. With careful movements, Mara guided Kalen toward the largest starship. Its massive wings folded as it walked, carefully keeping close to Mara. The soldier stepped aside, clearly impressed by the dragon's presence and the trust between it and the human. Mara felt a mix of pride and nervousness. She was entering a world far beyond her own, and she had no idea what awaited her. As they approached the ship, a ramp extended automatically. Mara climbed first, keeping Kalen behind her. The dragon hesitated briefly, scanning the interior, then followed. Mara marveled at the alien technology. The walls glowed softly, panels shifted with subtle hums, and lights adjusted to their presence. Kalen moved cautiously, its claws clicking softly on the floor. Inside, Mara met more of the aliens, scientists, soldiers, and advisors, all watching Kalen with a mixture of reverence and curiosity. The dragon's scales shimmered in their light, and Mara felt a swell of pride. This creature, once dying in a canyon, was now the center of attention for an entire alien royal fleet. The lead alien approached again, speaking telepathically. "You will stay close. Kalen's recovery continues, and your skills are necessary. You will learn our ways, and we will learn from yours. Trust and cooperation will guide us." Mara nodded. "I understand. I'll do my best." Kalen hummed softly beside her as if agreeing. Mara felt the weight of responsibility, but also a thrill. She was no longer just a fired nurse wandering the outskirts of a city. She was a guardian, a companion, and now an ambassador between worlds. For the rest of the day, Mara explored the starship with Kalen. Soldiers and staff watched her interactions with the dragon, clearly impressed by her courage and calm under pressure. Mara observed that Kalen was not only healing but growing stronger by the hour. Its wings stretched fully, claws flexed, and scales reflected light like polished armor. By evening, Mara and Kalen were settled in a spacious chamber designed for the dragon. Mara had small tools, medical supplies, and her own bedding. Kalen nuzzled her hand and she laughed softly. Despite the fear and chaos of the day, moments like these reminded her why she had risked everything. "Don't worry, Kalen," she whispered. "We're safe for now, and whatever comes next, we face it together." The dragon's eyes glowed softly, and a faint telepathic whisper reached her mind. "Together." As night fell, Mara stood by the viewport, looking at the city below. She realized how small Earth seemed from space, yet how much courage a single human could show. She had faced impossible odds before, but nothing like this. She had saved a dragon, gained its trust, and now stood among beings far more powerful than she could have imagined. Mara understood one thing clearly: humans were not weak. Even in the vastness of the galaxy, one brave human could change the course of events and earn the respect of creatures thought to be far beyond them. And Kalen, once dying in a canyon, now rested peacefully beside her, ready to face the universe with its chosen human guardian. Outside, the stars shimmered and the 4 royal starships hovered in protective formation. Mara knew that the days ahead would bring challenges, decisions, and tests of courage unlike anything she had faced before. But for now she felt hope, determination, and the quiet thrill of adventure waiting to unfold. The starship hummed softly as Mara walked beside Kalen, her steps echoing on the polished floors. The chamber they had been given was spacious and secure, designed for a creature of Kalen's size. But despite the comfort, Mara felt tension. The aliens had made it clear. Her presence was needed not just for care, but for assessment. She would have to prove herself. Kalen padded beside her, wings folded carefully, its scales gleaming under the soft lights. Mara whispered encouragement. "Stay calm. We can do this together." The dragon's eyes glimmered as if acknowledging her words. Mara realized that trust was a two-way street. She trusted Kalen to follow her guidance, and it trusted her to protect it from danger. Their first test came quickly. The lead alien, whose name Mara learned was Thalor, approached them. His tall form and flowing cloak gave him an air of authority. Mara bowed slightly out of habit. Thalor studied her carefully. "Human Mara," he said telepathically. "Your courage has been noted, but courage alone is not enough. We must know your mind, your skill, and your ability to act under pressure." Mara nodded. "I understand. Good, there will be challenges. You will aid our crew during these trials. Your decisions will determine Kalen's safety and your role aboard this ship. The first trial was immediate. A sudden alarm rang through the starship. Mara's heart skipped a beat. Kalen stirred beside her, sensing her tension. Mara followed Thalor through a series of corridors to the medical bay. There, a crew member lay injured, a deep gash along their arm from a malfunctioning device. Mara's training kicked in. "Step aside," she said firmly, kneeling beside the alien. "I can handle this." The crew watched, surprised that a human could command such confidence. Mara cleaned the wound, applied antiseptic, and used her knowledge of both human and alien biology to stabilize the injury. She instructed Kalen to stand nearby, letting its presence calm the other crew members and even the injured alien. Thalor observed silently, then nodded approvingly. "Impressive. Your skill is genuine, but skill alone will not suffice." The next trial tested her intelligence and quick thinking. A containment breach occurred in the ship's laboratory. A small creature far larger than a rat but smaller than a dragon had escaped, causing chaos with its telekinetic abilities. Mara did not panic. She scanned the area, noting the creature's behavior. "Kalen, stay calm," she whispered. "I need your help." The dragon responded immediately, its wings twitching as it followed her commands. Mara guided Kalen to the creature, not to attack, but to corner and calm it using her knowledge of movement and Kalen's natural authority. The creature froze under Kalen's gaze, allowing Mara to secure it with minimal harm. Thalor's eyes glimmered with respect. "You understand creatures, their instincts, and how to work with them." Few could have accomplished this. Mara realized the trials were not just about courage, they were about adaptability, empathy, and collaboration. Every skill she had learned as a human nurse, every instinct honed over years of work, was being tested in ways she had never imagined. And Kalen, once helpless in the canyon, was proving to be an invaluable partner. The final test was the most personal. Mara was asked to administer a healing procedure on Kalen itself. The dragon's injuries were minor now, but Thalor wanted to observe how she would act under pressure with a creature of immense power and intelligence. Mara approached Kalen, whose eyes reflected both trust and anticipation. "You're in my care," Mara whispered softly. "I won't let anything happen to you." Kalen exhaled slowly, allowing her to work. Mara examined its wings, adjusting minor scrapes, applying herbal salves and speaking soothing words. The dragon shifted slightly to let her reach difficult areas. Mara marveled at the trust and bond they had developed. Thalor watched closely. "This is the true test," he said telepathically. "Not your skill, not your courage, but your heart." Mara nodded inwardly. She understood now. Kalen was more than a creature to save. It was a being worthy of respect, a partner to trust, and a key to bridging two worlds. Her actions reflected not just human skill, but human compassion and integrity. By the end of the trials, Mara had proven herself. Thalor approached, a faint smile on his face. "You have succeeded. Your courage, skill, and heart have earned our trust. Kalen is safe, and you are now a recognized ally." Mara exhaled, relief washing over her. Kalen nudged her hand, and she felt the warmth of its gratitude. Together, they had faced trials that would have challenged anyone, yet they had emerged stronger. Over the next few days, Mara settled into her new role aboard the flagship. She worked closely with alien medical staff, sharing knowledge of human healing techniques while learning advanced alien treatments. Kalen trained as well, practicing flight maneuvers within the ship's gravity-controlled chambers and learning to respond to complex commands from Mara and the crew. The bond between human and dragon became a symbol aboard the starship. Crew members watched in awe as Mara navigated corridors alongside Kalen, her calm confidence balancing the dragon's majesty. Mara realized that her presence was changing perceptions of humans among the aliens. She was proof that courage, intelligence, and compassion were universal traits, not limited to one species. One evening, as Mara cared for Kalen in their chamber, she felt a strange sense of anticipation. The dragon shifted beside her, eyes alert as if sensing something beyond the ship. Mara followed its gaze toward the viewport. Far in the distance, stars shimmered unusually. Kalen hummed softly, and Mara felt a warning in its thoughts. "They're coming," Kalen whispered. Mara's heart pounded. "Who?" Kalen sent a mental image. Figures approaching through space, ships different from their own, symbols of power and threat. Mara realized that the trials were only the beginning. A larger conflict loomed on the horizon, one that would test everything they had learned about trust, courage, and cooperation. Mara tightened her grip on Kalen's scales. "We'll face it," she said firmly. "Together, we've survived this far. We can survive anything." Kalen hummed in agreement, the bond between them stronger than ever. Mara understood now that being human meant more than physical strength or skill. It meant empathy, resilience, and the willingness to act when others hesitate. Her courage had brought her this far, and her heart would carry her through what was to come. The ship continued its journey through the stars, carrying Mara and Kalen toward the unknown. Mara could feel the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of adventure. She was no longer just a nurse who had been fired from a city hospital. She was a guardian, a partner, and a symbol of what humanity could achieve. And somewhere beyond the stars, forces were gathering. They would soon learn that even a single human, guided by courage and compassion, could alter the course of destiny. Mara glanced at Kalen, whose wings stretched majestically in the chamber. Together, they were ready. For the first time in her life, Mara truly believed that humans could stand among the stars, not as weaklings, but as beings capable of courage, wisdom, and extraordinary deeds. The stars stretched endlessly outside the flagship's viewport, each point of light a silent witness to the galaxy's vastness. Mara stood beside Kalen, her hand resting gently on the dragon's shimmering scales. The bond between them had grown stronger with every trial, every shared danger, and every quiet moment of trust. But now the galaxy's true challenge was approaching. A sudden alert rippled through the ship. Mara felt it immediately, Kalen's subtle hum of tension in her mind. Mara turned toward the dragon. "They are near," it whispered. Mara nodded, already moving toward the control deck. The alien crew prepared for incoming vessels. Unlike the royal starships that had escorted them, these ships were sleek, dark, and aggressive. Mara could sense the intent behind their movements. Hostile, precise, and dangerous. Her heart raced, but she held onto Kalen's side. "We can do this." "Together," she said firmly. The dragon exhaled softly. "Ready." Thalor appeared beside them, his presence calm and authoritative. "These are the forces that seek Kalen. Their goal is to capture or destroy. You have a choice, human. You may stay safe, or you may stand and fight." Mara's mind flashed to the canyon where she had first found Kalen, weak and in pain. She remembered the fear, the uncertainty, and the resolve that had pushed her to act. She squared her shoulders. "I'll stand." With Kalen, the battle began with sudden intensity. The enemy ships fired energy pulses, which the flagship deftly evaded with maneuvers Mara could hardly comprehend. Kalen's wings unfurled, stretching across the chamber like sails of fire. Mara guided the dragon through mental commands they had practiced, and Kalen responded with precision, striking at enemy ships with controlled bursts of energy. Mara felt exhilaration and fear intertwined. She was just a human, yet her actions influenced the battle. Kalen listened to her, adapted, and together they became a team. A human mind paired with a dragon's strength. The enemy fleet attempted to flank the flagship, but Mara's quick thinking changed the tide. She directed Kalen to create a defensive pattern, using bursts of energy and aerial maneuvers to shield the ship. The aliens on board marveled at her insight, realizing that human ingenuity combined with Kalen's power was unlike anything they had seen. During the battle, Mara noticed a critical moment. One enemy ship had breached the flagship's perimeter and was closing in on the medical bay. Without hesitation, she grabbed a control panel and guided Kalen to intercept. The dragon moved with speed and grace, blocking the attack and saving dozens of lives, including several injured crew members. Thalor approached afterward, his expression a mixture of astonishment and respect. "You have done more than expected. Humans are remarkable. You have saved Kalen, the crew, and altered the outcome of this engagement." Mara exhaled, her heart still pounding. She realized that her courage had been more than instinct, it had been a choice. One that demonstrated the strength, resilience, and ingenuity of a single human in a universe that often underestimated her species. The battle ended with the enemy fleet retreating. Mara and Kalen stood victorious, though not unscathed. Minor damage to the flagship was being repaired, and Mara had tended to a few injured crew members in the aftermath. She looked at Kalen, whose scales glimmered under the starship's lights, and felt a profound sense of pride. Later, in the great chamber of the flagship, Mara was formally recognized by the Alien Council. Thalor addressed the gathered assembly. "Today, A human has proven that courage, compassion, and intelligence are not bound by species. Mara has saved Kalen, protected our crew, and demonstrated that even a single human can shape the course of events in the galaxy. The council erupted in acknowledgement. Mara felt Kalen nudge her hand gently, a silent message of gratitude and shared triumph. She realized that her life had changed forever. From a fired nurse wandering the outskirts of a city, she had become a hero, respected by beings across the stars. Thaler continued. Mara, you will remain aboard as Kalen's guardian and our human ambassador. Your knowledge of medicine, your courage, and your understanding of life will guide us as we face future challenges. Humans are now known not as weak, but as capable, resilient, and honorable. Mara felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had never imagined such recognition, yet it felt natural. Courage, compassion, and determination had carried her here. She realized that even ordinary humans could rise to extraordinary deeds when faced with life-or-death situations. Over the following days, Mara worked alongside alien medical experts, blending human healing techniques with advanced alien technology. Kalen trained under her guidance, refining its abilities and preparing for the uncertain future. The bond between human and dragon became legendary among the crew, a symbol of trust, cooperation, and friendship across species. Mara also learned more about Kalen's lineage. The dragon was part of a royal bloodline, guardians of ancient knowledge and protectors of interstellar peace. Mara's bravery had ensured the survival of a key figure in the galaxy, and her actions had earned her a place not only beside Kalen, but also among those who shaped the fate of worlds. One evening, Mara stood at the viewport, Kalen beside her, gazing at the stars. She thought of Earth, small and fragile, yet capable of producing humans like her. She realized that bravery was not measured by size or power, but by heart and determination. Humans, she knew, were underestimated, but they were resilient, inventive, and capable of inspiring awe. Kalen leaned against her gently, wings folded, as if acknowledging her thoughts. Mara whispered softly, "We've come far and there is more to come. But whatever happens, we face it together." The dragon responded with a low, vibrating hum that echoed in her mind. Together. News of Mara's courage and the bond between human and dragon spread through the alien fleet. Humans, once seen as fragile and inconsequential, were now recognized as beings capable of courage, wisdom, and extraordinary deeds. Mara had not only saved a dragon, she had changed perceptions of her species across the galaxy. The flagship set course for distant worlds, carrying Mara and Kalen toward new challenges and adventures. Mara felt excitement, determination, and a quiet pride. She understood that her journey was only beginning. The galaxy was vast, but humans, if brave, clever, and compassionate, could leave a mark even among the stars. As the stars streaked past, Mara glanced at Kalen. The dragon's eyes reflected light and intelligence beyond comprehension. She smiled. "Ready for whatever comes next?" Kalen responded with a soft hum and a flick of its wings. Mara felt the thrill of adventure, courage, and hope intertwined. Together, human and dragon would face the universe, proving that even the smallest beings could achieve the greatest feats. In that moment, Mara knew the truth of her journey. Humans were stronger than anyone realized, not because of weapons or numbers, but because of courage, heart, and the willingness to act when others hesitated. And as the flagship sailed through the stars, Mara and Kalen looked forward, ready to face the galaxy. Together, the universe was vast, but so was the courage of a single human, and so was the bond between a nurse and a dragon, a bond that could change the fate of worlds. Lyra's boots clicked softly against the metal floor of the research facility as she made her way toward the observation deck. The city outside glimmered with thousands of lights, a maze of towers and streets stretching into the distance. Above it, the sky was an endless canvas of stars, though few people paused to look at them. Most were too busy obeying rules, following orders, and avoiding anything unpredictable. Lyra had never been good at following rules. She liked to tinker, explore, and sometimes do what others said was impossible or forbidden. It was this curiosity that had made her one of the best engineers in the city, yet it had also made her unpopular among her superiors. They liked things neat, predictable, and safe. Lyra liked things alive, wild, and unpredictable. Her work usually involved repairing advanced drones and testing energy conduits. But today, something far more unusual caught her attention. A soft, almost musical scream had echoed through the city streets earlier, faint but persistent. At first, she thought it was an emergency alert or a malfunctioning drone. But something in her gut told her it wasn't machines making that sound. It was a living creature, in pain. By the time she reached the outer edge of the city, the sound became clearer. It came from the cliffs just beyond the industrial district. Lyra carefully climbed over the jagged rocks, keeping low to avoid city patrols, and then she saw it. The dragon. It was smaller than the legends described, no longer than a large horse, but its scales shimmered with colors that seemed to shift under the moonlight. Its wings were folded tightly against its body, and one of its legs was bent at an unnatural angle. The creature's eyes, golden and bright, looked up at her with a mix of fear and trust. The city had strict laws. Dragons were considered dangerous and forbidden. Anyone caught helping or even approaching them was immediately arrested. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest, but she could not turn away. "Shh," she whispered, lowering herself to the ground. "I'm not going to hurt you," the dragon hissed softly, a sound more like a sigh than a threat. Its scales rippled nervously. Lyra glanced around. The city guards would be patrolling soon, and drones might scan the cliffs at any moment. She had minutes, maybe seconds. Carefully, she examined the dragon's injured leg. A sharp piece of rock had pierced its skin and the wound was bleeding. Lyra's mind raced. She had never treated a dragon before, but she knew enough about biology and about creatures to improvise. Pulling a small toolkit from her bag, she began cleaning and bandaging the wound. The dragon shifted slightly, allowing her to work, though its wings twitched with tension. "I know you're scared," Lyra murmured, "but you're not alone. Not anymore." When she finished, she stepped back. The dragon lowered its head, letting out a low, rumbling sound that seemed almost like gratitude. Lyra smiled faintly. "Okay," she said. "We need to get you somewhere safe." The problem was obvious. There was nowhere in the city safe for a dragon. And she could not hide it in her apartment. The authorities would discover it immediately. She needed a plan, and she needed it fast. As if reading her thoughts, the dragon made a soft cooing sound and nudged her hand with its snout. Lyra blinked. Was it trying to communicate? She had read stories of dragons being intelligent, but she had never seen anything like this. "All right," she whispered. "You're coming with me." The climb down the cliffs was difficult, but the dragon followed her without hesitation. When they reached the abandoned warehouse district, she led it inside. Dust and debris covered the floors, and old machines littered the space. It was the perfect hiding spot, isolated, forgotten, and full of places to tuck away a creature the size of a horse. Lyra carefully guided the dragon into the warehouse, then closed the doors and reinforced them with a few steel beams she found nearby. The creature sniffed its new surroundings, wings twitching as it explored. Lyra set up a makeshift water station and offered some dried food she had in her bag. The dragon hesitated but eventually ate, keeping its golden eyes fixed on her. "I know," Lyra said softly. "You're scared, but I won't let them hurt you." For hours, she stayed with the dragon, talking quietly, learning its movements, trying to understand its moods. She realized that it was not only intelligent but also observant, almost aware of more than just its immediate surroundings. She wondered if dragons had always been capable of things humans could never measure, like sensing danger, or even understanding human emotions. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed from outside. Lyra froze. Footsteps, drones? She could hear the faint whirring of patrol scanners. "They found out," she whispered. Before she could decide what to do, the warehouse doors rattled violently. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. She ran toward the dragon. "Stay calm," she urged, holding up a small metal device that could create an energy field. It was experimental, untested, and probably illegal, but it might buy them time. The doors buckled under pressure. Outside, she could see the guards trying to break in, their weapons humming with energy. Lyra's mind raced. She could not let them take the dragon. Not now, not ever. The dragon, sensing her panic, let out a loud roar. It was powerful, echoing through the warehouse and the empty streets outside. The sound was so intense that it made the guards stumble backward. Lyra realized something astonishing. The dragon was not just scared or injured. It had power. "Real power. This is our chance," she said. "We have to move now." With the guards temporarily distracted, Lyra and the dragon slipped out through a side door she had noticed earlier. They ran into the shadows of the city, moving quickly and quietly. Lyra felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. She had lost her job, she had defied the law, and now she was running for her life. But she also felt alive in a way she never had before. As they reached the edge of the city, Lyra glanced up. The stars were unusually bright tonight. A faint shimmering light moved across the sky, a streak that did not look like any ordinary spacecraft. She frowned, trying to understand. The dragon, sensing her attention, lifted its head and twitched its wings. Then it happened. The light grew brighter, splitting into multiple beams, scanning the city below. Lyra's eyes widened. Something, or someone, was out there looking for them. The realization hit her hard. She had thought the danger was only the city authorities, but now the skies themselves seemed alive, watching, searching. The dragon nudged her again, more insistently this time. It was not afraid of the light. It seemed almost curious, as if it recognized something familiar. Lyra swallowed hard, understanding that her life had changed forever. "I guess we're not just running from the city anymore," she murmured. "We're part of something much bigger." The dragon let out another soft roar, almost like a laugh. Lyra felt a shiver run down her spine. The impossible had just begun. And then, as if responding to the dragon's call, the first starship appeared on the horizon, moving with precision and purpose, its lights scanning every corner of the city. More followed, and soon the night sky was filled with tiny points of light, dozens, maybe hundreds, gathering speed, heading straight for her. Lyra's heart raced. She had saved the dragon, yes, but now she realized she had also drawn attention from forces far beyond her understanding. Forces that might not be human, forces that might be friendly or deadly. For the first time in her life, she understood the truth of the legends. Dragons were not just creatures of myth. They were beacons, and saving one had changed everything. She glanced at the dragon, which now spread its wings, tall and magnificent in the moonlight. Its golden eyes met hers, and Lyra understood something in that gaze. They were partners now, in a story that had just begun. "All right," she said, her voice firm despite the fear in her chest. "Let's see what's out there." And with that, Lyra and the dragon stepped forward, leaving the city behind, as the skies above filled with ships searching for them, heralding a journey that would take them far beyond the world they had known. The city disappeared behind them as Lyra and the dragon climbed higher into the night sky. Wind whipped past her face, and the stars seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. The dragon's wings were strong, each beat powerful enough to lift them higher faster. Lyra held tight, feeling a mix of fear and exhilaration. She had never flown like this before. Not on any machine, not on any drone. Never in her life. The light from the approaching starships had grown brighter as they left the city behind. Lyra squinted, trying to make sense of them. There were dozens, maybe hundreds, and each one moved with precision and purpose. Yet none attacked. They seemed curious, searching, waiting. The dragon let out a low, melodic sound, and the lights above seemed to respond, flickering as if acknowledging it. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. Could the dragon communicate with them? Suddenly, one of the ships descended rapidly, slowing just above the dragon. Its hull gleamed in the starlight, sleek and smooth, with markings that shifted like liquid metal. A panel opened, revealing a soft blue light that projected a holographic figure. Lyra's eyes widened. The figure was humanoid but not human. Its skin shimmered with a faint glow, and its eyes were larger than any human's, reflecting the stars. It raised its hand slowly in a gesture of peace. "Do not be afraid," the figure said in a clear musical voice. Its words were translated directly in Lyra's mind, though she had not spoken aloud. "You have done something unusual. Something remarkable." Lyra swallowed, still gripping the dragon's scales. Who are you?" she asked. "We are the Star Wardens," the figure replied. "We protect the balance of life across the galaxy. That creature you saved, your dragon, belongs to an ancient line that we have long watched over. By saving it, you have drawn our attention." Lyra blinked. "Drawn your attention? Why me?" The figure's glowing eyes seemed to pierce her thoughts. "Because you chose compassion over rules. That choice is rare among your kind. You have the courage and heart to stand with us, and with the dragons, against forces that would destroy balance in the galaxy." The dragon let out a soft roar, and the holographic figure inclined slightly. It recognizes you as its companion. You are now linked and together. You hold potential far beyond this world. Lyra felt her knees weaken. Her life had been ordinary until a few nights ago. Then, because of a single choice, she had become part of something enormous, something she could hardly imagine. Look, the figure continued. Your planet has laws. It fears dragons. But you have seen the truth, they are not weapons. They are guardians. And the galaxy is at risk. There are those who would use dragons for destruction. You may be the first human to help stop them. The words sank in slowly. Lyra glanced down at the dragon. Its golden eyes reflected the starlight, calm but alert. Somehow she understood. She had not saved just one creature. She had saved a future. Can I help? She asked, her voice trembling. Yes, the figure said, but you must leave this world behind. You cannot stay. Those who hunt dragons will not stop with your city. They will come for you, and they are relentless. Lyra took a deep breath. She had lost her job, her home, and the life she had known. Yet strangely, she did not feel fear. She felt purpose. The dragon shifted beneath her, wings beating steadily. It seemed to sense her thoughts. Together they nodded, an unspoken agreement forming between them. I'll go, she said. If it means protecting them. The hologram's light brightened. Good, then we will guide you. But first, a test. Before Lyra could respond, the figure extended its hands toward the dragon. A stream of pale blue energy flowed from the ship, wrapping around the dragon in a gentle shimmer. Lyra felt warmth in her chest as the dragon seemed to absorb the light, then release it in a burst of radiant color. The dragon roared, and the sound reverberated through the night sky, vibrating through Lyra's bones. You see, the figure said, this dragon is not merely a creature. It is a key. A guardian of energy and knowledge older than your planet. By bonding with you, it grants abilities you cannot yet imagine, but will need to master quickly. Lyra's head spun. Abilities, powers? She had only ever fixed drones and machines. She was no hero, at least she had never thought she could be. Yet looking at the dragon's eyes, she felt a spark of confidence. Together, maybe they could do it. Follow us, the figure instructed. The ship descended fully now, landing on a nearby plateau. Your first journey begins beyond the atmosphere. You will meet others who share your purpose. And you will learn why your choice, your single act of kindness, has made you so important. The dragon let out a soft, encouraging roar. Lyra patted its scales and nodded. Let's go, she said. They climbed onto the ship, the dragon fitting surprisingly easily into the open deck. As the engines powered up, a low hum resonated through the floor. Lyra gripped a railing, holding tight as the ship lifted off. Below, the city grew smaller until it became a glittering cluster of lights against the darkness. Lyra felt a pang of sadness. She had left behind everything she knew, but she also felt excitement, something she had never experienced in her controlled, predictable life. The stars seemed to stretch out endlessly before them, and for the first time, Lyra realized just how small the world she had known truly was. Where are we going? She asked. To the border of your solar system, the hologram replied. There you will meet others who protect dragons and other rare creatures. You will learn to understand the energy they hold, and you will be trained to act should the need arise. The dragon nudged her gently. Its warmth and trust reminded her that she was not alone. Whatever challenges awaited, they would face them together. Hours passed, and the ship glided silently through space. Lyra marveled at the stars, nebulae, and distant planets she had only ever seen in books. The galaxy was vast, beautiful, and full of life beyond her imagination. Do you understand why they need us? She asked the dragon softly. The dragon tilted its head, wings stretching slightly as if to say yes. Lyra smiled faintly. It was strange but comforting to feel that connection. Somehow she knew that whatever dangers came, they could handle it, as long as they trusted each other. Suddenly, a faint warning light blinked on the ship's control panel. The hologram turned toward it. Sensors detect another fleet approaching. They are not friendly. Your presence has already been noted. Lyra's stomach tightened. She had thought the hardest part was leaving the city. She had not expected trouble to follow them into space. They want the dragon, she whispered. We can't let them take it. The hologram nodded. Then you must learn quickly. The bond you share allows you to react in ways most humans cannot. Trust the dragon and trust yourself. Lyra looked at the dragon, whose eyes shone with determination. Somehow the creature seemed ready for the challenge. And for the first time, Lyra felt ready too. The ship's engines hummed louder, propelling them forward. Ahead, the stars shifted, and in the distance, small blips of light appeared. Another fleet, moving with precision. The galaxy was far from safe, and the journey ahead would test everything she thought she knew about courage, friendship, and power. Lyra took a deep breath. Okay, she said to herself. Let's see what the galaxy really looks like. And with that, the ship surged forward, leaving behind the world she had known, carrying her and the dragon toward a destiny that stretched across the stars. For the first time, she understood. This was no longer just her story. It was a story that could change worlds.